Hello and welcome to the Laneverse. This is the last log in the Forge because I am moving. Where am I moving to? So in light of that, as you have seen from the title or below, that this vlog is about the art of acceptance, release, and expansion, because that's what this is all for me. A lot of responsibilities that I want and wanted nothing to do with, which is part of why I gotta move on. But really, the whole thing has been just having a house, doing all the bills, blah blah, and adulting. Like, I don't need to do the flavor of existing that everybody else is doing. And I feel like I've been trying to get myself aligned with it, but it's just the way things got set up for me moving into this space is I just couldn't adapt because it's too much going on, and I was handling most things by myself, and that was partially circumstances, but also just a deliberate choice of having space where people aren't in my fucking face all the time. I'm just not designed for that. I'm sure maybe that'll change over the next couple years. You know, by the time I get to my 40s, I'm ready to settle down, maybe get a family and shit. But it's just like coexisting with people is a lot, especially people who opt to misunderstand me and don't want to be open to exploring how I navigate things or honoring my differences, and have this assumption that I'm supposed to just fall in line and do things a certain way. And I mean, I guess that's on par for existence, but the fact of the matter is I've always existed on the fringes of society and social order. Honestly, I've been itching to go. Like, the pandemic it isn't over. Like, people keep trying to make it like COVID doesn't exist anymore and shit. But I wasn't traveling. I'm not being in everybody's fucking face throughout the pandemic. Like, I'm not drawn to that because I need the space. So I am digital nomading. I call it vagabonding, I guess, honoring the Vagabond manga. And it just sounds cooler than digital nomading. But as I'll be filming, you'll see me in different places, different areas. Gonna have whatever, it doesn't matter. But you'll see me in different places, different areas, covering whatever topic. I'm still going to be developing my skills. I'm not really leaving Maryland until about August, and pretty much I still got to put in to renew my passport, and then I'll be out the country before October or by the end of October, because I need to get the fuck out this bitch. And I mean, yeah, I just need to get the fuck out this bitch, and I ain't trying to be cold this year. I can handle like 40 degrees. But like back-to-back days of 40 degrees, and you know, I got the skin out, blah blah blah. Like, at the end of the day, like, I'm black, nigga. I'm not supposed to be here. Get into some real shit, right? So trying to get this house in order has not worked for me. Like, I've been focused on inner work. You know, I do think of course that is a part of the inner work. But it's like, at the end of the day, I'm doing all this shit. Like, making content's cool, building business is cool, reaching out to clients, I'm doing all this shit and not fucking art, and it's driving me nuts. Who respects that? Who really respects and honors that I have this fundamental need? I do. The divine does. The ether, the spirit, whatever the fuck. That's all that fucking matters. All these goddamn meat sacks and everybody, like, I just have to be away. Not to mention the fact I'm on family property. Like, these niggas are cool, but same for me. Niggas be throwing trash around here. It's annoying. It's just too much involved when I want to be spending my time making motherfucking art and like gallivanting and making connections so I can make even more art. And I haven't been making much because my focus is pulled all over the place. So instead of me trying to fight to stay here, whatever, it's like I don't even want to be here. I gotta go. I've been feeling this for months. Just like, I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. Thus, the acceptance aspect is me just accepting my own needs, who I am in my existence. Accepting that there are getting into the release aspect. It's also moving into that I gotta start learning. Like, I'm at a place, more importantly, where I'm ready to start learning and practicing detachment, especially when it comes to other people in my family, because it's just, I be trying to communicate, but I feel the energy, like, we're in different energetic levels. I'm not meeting whatever expectations when it's like, I ain't agree to this shit, niggas. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to partake in this. And encountering some pushback, blah, blah. Like, I don't want your words. I don't want your feelings. Like, bruh, I just care about what I'm doing. So, what was the last part of that? Expansion. Like, that is the theme of this year. I must be elsewhere to expand my skill set and actually focus on what I came to this human experience to do. Everything else is, as I've been accepting, I've had some detachment from my body and developing relationship with just being here, coexisting, deciding how I want to show up, accepting that I gotta show up in bigger ways than I kind of anticipated. But motherfuckers love my energy. And on top of that, it's because motherfuckers love my energy, not every fucking body can have access to me. And I've just realized that throughout my life, that people are, it's like certain motherfuckers just grasping for me, grasping for pieces of me, wanting, and it's just like, get the fuck away from me. It's like people constantly wanting to help me and I didn't ask for the help, or assuming I need help in certain ways, when it's like, I don't have an issue asking for help. At this point, you're trying to make yourself useful and force a relationship or force some type of connection, which is already sending off alarms in my head. Or you're making yourself, I feel like I can't trust your friendliness to a certain degree, because it's like, I get when it's just genuine, but you are pressing so hard that I feel like you're trying to get access to something that you don't deserve that from me. Like, back the fuck up, bruh. I don't fucking know you. I don't know you like that. And like, people, I just feel like people get this sense that because I have youthful energy, because I look younger, because I'm very open about things, and I have no real issue sharing my vulnerabilities, it's that then, as I've learned over the years, or I just get the sense of, you think that you have access to a weakness of mine, and I just don't trust what's happening. And then you're so desperate to get me to trust you and trying to get me to override my own senses. Nah. I'm just out here for a broader experience. And again, the theme for this year, as I've said in previous videos, or the previous video beginning of the year, something, that my theme for this year is expansion, is allowing myself to take up space, is allowing myself to take big motherfucking chances and reach out to people that people don't think that I can, or it really doesn't matter what people think. It's just, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I think I want to do and follow my intuition and my senses and my ideas, because I'm a brilliant motherfucker. I'm personable. People like me. Of course, there's things that I'm still like working to improve about myself and like forgive myself for, but ultimately, like, again, with the release aspect, it's detaching from everybody and everything and really accepting what my role is and how I'm choosing to show up on this motherfucking planet and enjoying my goddamn self, regardless of what motherfucking number 76 feels about the world is on fire, when it's like, bro, the world is not on fire. Like, just stop watching the news for a week. It's gonna be okay. So in light of all that, and helping to transition into the next phase of my videos, I will show a little montage as I do of just the house, how just my stuff, the things I've studied, the things I've collected over the years, the things that have led to me being inspired, the things I still need to study, because I got books on books on books. And this is kind of also just like a memorabilia, nostalgia for me to look back on, because I'm keeping all my books and my art, but for the most part I am getting rid of all my furniture. Like, this is stuff, like, I have a TV that I've had since 2011 that I bought off of eBay that I'm still using, and like, I would keep it potentially in storage, because I was thinking, you know, I could use it as a monitor or whatever. But like, because I have like two smaller 15, 21 inch monitors, but it's just gonna go. And that's a part of the release process. That's what I've been going through over the past 4 years, is like grieving the life that I was trying to build, and when I was looking to heal at my pace, and just everything kind of avalanched at once. It's also, like I said, I have a fucking TV from like 2011, and just a lot of my furniture has been cheap and kind of college 20s vibes, and I'm not thinking I'm gonna come back to like being settled in Maryland this year. So yeah, this is also an opportunity. Like, I also make these videos so I can look back. Like, I watch my own video. Of course I watch my own fucking videos, but it's to look back on how I've changed over the years, days, months, quarters, whatnot, years, I may have already said. But yeah, this is just a look back on how I was living, the stuff I had, the stuff that I've let go, you know, expressing, you know, learning gratitude, that valuable thing. But yeah, just having the gratitude of some of the things I've acquired were just, I found them, or just acknowledging, respecting my own kind of ingenuity and my resourcefulness, and things that were given to me that, you know, I appreciate, but that shit gotta go now. Or I just inherited some things. So it's not anything too intricate and whatnot, but you know, it's just the ending of this moment, and like I said, transitioning into how the videos are moving. It's a transition. You've seen it sprinkled around the channel, but Orange 91 is coming out on July 18th, 2023. It is a short story anthology that I've been wanting to put out for years, and this isn't going to be the grandiose that I wanted it to be, where it has a bunch of short stories. Like, I have written short stories and filling them with a bunch of illustrations. I'm just probably going to put 3 short stories in there and add maybe at least 2 illustrations per story if I can, you know, try and manage that. But that'll be on Amazon, but I'll be talking about that, and I want to spend, or no, I won't be spending the third quarter talking about Orange 91. I want to get the project out, but I will also be talking about the Indo-Can band, because that is having an official launch on July 10th. Really, I am securing the bag with these financial ventures, but also just learning to turn my art into products, because that is part of what I've had to release, is just this weird negative energy that I've had about making money with art and how to do that. But that's kind of why I got into entrepreneurship and marketing and business anyway, was to learn how to master that. videos for the third quarter will be Orange 91 and Indo-Kanban. So 1st and 18th, those will alternate. The first will be Indo-Kanban. The 18th will cover Orange 91. So it's going to be about 3 months of that. And I'm also adding the Faded Fridays, where I'll be covering Indo-Kanban content as well as things from my cannabis art business, the Faded Lane Art Company, and, you know, using my podcast, blah, blah, blah. The mini art aspect is still going to make a resurgence. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm planning to have this channel for, I don't know, 3-5 years more, till the end of antiquity. I don't know, but more than likely the fourth quarter I'll transition back to covering the mini arts. As I've been studying Japanese, I'm still adding Japanese and Spanish in my life. I'm still practicing guitar. I'm still doing something else I probably said I was covering. But I do want to center, or I am centering content about my products and what I'm doing through the third quarter, because this is what I want to use. Basically, doing whatever the content strategy is typically with YouTube, is pulling these videos and turning this into, you know, shorter videos for Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn, so that I can attract clients, so I can get customers. And just so, of course, again, with like the aspect of this tracking my existence and just my journey, is just a good moment to capture my glow up, because I'm glowing up during this third quarter, where I'm really focused on what I'm doing and showing just the art, because that's most valuable to me, is developing the commitment to having this commitment and embodying the commitment to being a great illustrator and learning animation skills and applying that to Orange 91, applying that to Indo-Kanban, and showing that, you know, showcasing that again, because your resident madam welcomes clients the best. I like people with pipe dreams be talking to me so excited and they don't have no fucking money. It's like, no, I'm not doing your idea for cheap. I got bills, bitch. So anyway, showing the montage of my stuff, my work over the past 3 years, about 3.5 years of me living here, and bringing it to a conclusion that, I don't know, but it just embodies, you know, again, the theme of the art of acceptance, release, and expansion, so I can just move the fuck on, show you how it's done. So before I get into covering what I've created over the past 3.5 years, this is a tour of my home space, and kind of is like a time capsule where both you and I get to see what I have accumulated over the years and how I have utilized and potentially misused the space. But it's just a lot. See, I've collected all of these books over the past 10 plus years. I got this poster and just all this other stuff, where there's so much I could have done to just made this house a home. But that was also a part of my learning process, where I kind of just wanted a place to have all my stuff, which there was ample space for that. Like, these are all my sketchbooks, which I've covered before. But when it comes to having a dream like I have written there and big plans, there's changes that have to be made to represent everything that I aspire and align with being. And that just was not happening here, especially because I went through a lot of internal work here, and there's just a certain level of baggage that I want to be free of. being here gave me the opportunity to experiment with how I wanted to live, or just not giving a shit about straightening things up, because I could just finally be someplace where somebody wasn't fucking bothering me about why I'm not doing this, or why this doesn't look like this. Like, I wasn't having people over. And yeah, just this is just how I've typically been, is just kind of been a messy person, because that is a trauma response from certain experiences. And I've just had so much going on where I've just wanted to prioritize me and gaming and making art and hanging out with my dog, where all this other stuff was just too much. This house was just a placeholder for things like this mural, and now it's time to expand. I'm gonna get into my work over the past 3.5 years in the cannabis industry. Well, I've been working in it going on 5 years, but this website is just a part of it. Originally, I was on ElenaDorsey.com, and I was doing just blog posts, and things just evolved and just kept evolving. So I'll let that load. But these are case studies. Like, I've worked with the Cannabis Workers Coalition, which this was my first illustration project in the cannabis industry, making these portraits. Then I had a long relationship with Peak Relief. They were my first dispensary client for blog writing, and then I ended up working on their marketing campaign for merchandise and getting their series going. Now they are in good hands with the homies at Puff Creative, but I worked with Women Employed in Cannabis, and this was this was my first illustration project that I pitched to them to do this, and featuring women who were at their online conference, and that was a big deal, and I was scared out of my motherfucking mind. But then I got this big deal, which pretty much was a turning point where I wanted to, this is Marshawn Lynch's cannabis brand, Doty Blunts. And this ended up turning into my turning point for focusing on art, because I was referred this job where I did the key messaging strategy. I put together this deck. I wrote for the website. My work is still up there. The copy I wrote was used for the initial post to help get the brand language down. And then I had this brand storytelling opportunity with K&D Infusions, and their product is Kinetic Bites something, but I had done like a content marketing strategy for them on top of the brand storytelling to help get them started with their baseline before they expanded into doing their product. But yeah, when I first got started, this definitely needs to be updated. But when I first got started in the industry, I joined as a patient and was consuming for medicinal reasons. I mean, I still consume for medicinal reasons, but just over time, I got industry clout. I got featured in this article. I got the Write for Leafly, which opened up new opportunities. Got to do this contribution for Kaliva, an article I wrote for. I did many interview articles for Cash Color Cannabis featuring Black business owners and people in the cannabis and psychedelic space. And this ended up going on Benzinga's site. I've been featured on podcasts. I was working with traveling vegan canna writer. She's like the #1 traveling cannabis writer in the industry, and she's a cool chick. I got the opportunity to speak for this conference, and there's so many other opportunities I have to add to this. This is just touching the surface of the work that I've done. So these are my projects that I've written, like again, when I first started out with doing blog posts and eventually doing some website copywriting and coming up with strategies. A lot of these are templates and things that I use to learn, and this is just all of my work since the autumn of 2018. These are some other outside projects that I had done outside of the cannabis industry, but yeah, most of this is writing for cannabis and blog posts and templates for learning business things. And when I had briefly joined the Future Pro group, which I definitely plan to do again by the end of this year, and just I'm amazed at all this stuff that I have been doing. So again, this is all a privilege. Like, I interviewed the founder of Paula, I'm awful, of High Hemp, which I really love her blunts. And HubSpot is definitely the homie for learning the ins and outs and getting templates for marketing and branding stuff. FYI, I got into licensing agreements and proposals and coming up with all these projects. Also evolved into me learning how to put together different types of contracts. Then we hop over to Canva, where so this was for Juicy Fields, which ended up being a Ponzi scheme. And it wasn't a German company, but these were my first Instagram posts that I created. And oh my God, just the level of nervousness I had, because they approached me to do this work on top of editing copy, because they needed a more natural sound to what they were doing. But as I was getting into making my own Instagram posts and really learning and making my own templates, coming up with my own iconography, my own brand book, as you will, and getting myself familiar with being on camera, but playing around with these templates, and then eventually coming up with visuals for the blog posts I was doing for Cash Color Cannabis. Then I worked with the Number Grinder, a cannabis accountant, and got her, pretty much was also coaching her with being comfortable showing up and showing her face online. And you know, as I was going through that process, experimenting, doing some light design, did some work for the Women in Cannabis study. And really, this is just going down the list. I was doing something similar to Smoke Break. They do curated podcasts, or not podcasts, curated playlists for cannabis folk. And I had started doing that for my company when it was called Bud Biz. I was doing Bud Biz vibes and trying to do that every Monday. Then I was doing quotes. So I was playing around with like a lot of different forms of content, and then also setting things up for my clients. But man, this is just a whole thing of me loosely learning design based off of the templates from just Canva. So a lot of this looks awful to be honest, but I got to just play around and get really creative to see if this was something that I wanted to dive into, because I was playing with offering social media content as a service and adding in strategy elements, staying on top of the new updates with Canva. And formerly the Hemp Neighborhood, they are Plantivian now, I believe, in New Jersey. But I was making these posts to go with the blog post I was writing for them. Get into my transition, the introduction of the Indo-Kanban and the first cannabis illustration project I'd done, and getting familiar with logos and playing with that, coming up with graphic sheets and figuring out my pricing and services when I was considering doing infographics, coming up with my own visuals, also where I put decks together, and also was doing a lot of the base visual work for Peak Relief, also gathering footage when I talked to Marshawn Lynch for the interview, to show on the site or my site, and then playing around with how to make an ebook, finding out what kinds of photos they got going, and just, it's a whole lot. I've done these packages for Eat More Chauncey's, and really just getting into this website and using it for everything I could. I did these labels for Eat More Chauncey's. I come up with this base logo for Slick Nerd Pro, which is a Baltimore-based rap duo. Made my first ebook and didn't really sell it, wasn't that pressed, but I was playing around with these different templates because I was coming up with a calendar for the Indo-Kanban, so I was using Canva, will more likely continue using Canva for coming up with different designs to sell. Like here, these are different renditions of Queen CBD. This is for some personal work because I found a website that had EMDR. But yeah, I came up with these calendar posters that I did not sell, but I may sell. It was fun to work on, fun and frustrating to work on. But worked on some more things with Peak Relief, used Canva to make my vision boards, and then started playing around with a visual for the Faded Lane Art Company. And yeah, just doing lots of work and reworking things. And when I had to land the Muse communications consultancy, and when I was thinking of building that out, but I think it still looks good in a portfolio. I mean, I think this design is hot. But just, again, wow, put together a resume, then started doing proposals, came up with this visual recently, and then making my thumbnails for YouTube in here. So this doesn't capture everything that I've done. It's on the to-do list to gather all of my work over the past 5 years and then get it up on the Faded Lane website. But damn, I've done a lot. You made it to the end. Thank you for sticking around. I think this will be the longest video I'm making. Maybe not this year, but this is going to be the longest video I'm making for a while. I just wanted to capture the moment, capture everything, because I'm gone in about a week, or just over a week. I'm out of here and I'll be recording in a new location. So let me know what you think, what you're feeling, if this resonated with you, how it resonated with you, and of course, consider liking, comment wisely, and share with love, and subscribe if you vibe. That's all I got for you. I appreciate your time again for hanging out with me for damn near 40 minutes of me going on about my shit. But yeah, this has just been the process of acceptance, release, and expansion, which just happens when you are willing to grow as a person and when you don't accept that the person in front of you in the mirror is all that there is, that your past experience are all that you are. As I had mentioned, when I was showing my messy living that I said that's how I am, but I'm not saying that as a period to my existence. No, it's I moved in here with so much going on, and I wasn't well really in any type of way. I wasn't physically healthy, I wasn't mentally, emotionally. I can say I was spiritually healthy. I feel like the spirit was coming out, but I needed to deal with what was happening with my body, and between like my business wasn't straight, like that's still not solvent. I'm still not stable with that. And then being the sole caretaker of my dog, then of course I gotta feed myself and take care of all these things. And it's like, yes, of course, duh, that's a part of fucking life. But the fact of the matter is when you're not fully well and you don't really have a support system, and the people who you kind of have access to aren't healthy for you, it has made all of this difficult for me. So I did the best that I could. And again, I just appreciate that I had this space and this experience to be on my own and to be in my own space and to have it in such a spacious area where I had next to zero interruptions is so crucial, so crucial. Not everybody can handle living alone. Not everybody can handle doing blah 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 on alone. But like again, that's a part of the journey. Is I believe there are things found in the difficulty. I did work with a therapist, and then I also just wanted to again figure things out for myself. People, it's natural to want to get help and to help people, but at some point you got to figure out shit on your own. And you also have to give people space to figure out things on their own. Like there's this, it's really a people pleasing thing for you to be so pressed to help somebody when they're not asking for it. Or when, like for me, there were certain things I was asking for or I was trying to communicate, and then it was too much for people. So for me, it's just like, okay, I got to just figure this out on my own. And just where I'm at now, and understanding my spirituality and my connection to the divine and just the universe and everything, it's just, that's where I've been trying to develop the relationship, but also getting to a place where I could handle addressing the messiness, the lack of order, degrees of irresponsibility, being unreliable, and my lack of resourcefulness. It's, yeah, it pisses people off or rub people the wrong way, but at the end of the day, I just don't give a shit, because it's not helpful for me to be guilty about motherfuckers who get upset about things that they don't communicate and do these passive aggressive. I don't have time for it. I don't have space for it. And I, as a sensitive person, and knowing some of you motherfuckers are watching, I sense when things change. And I sense when you're making distance or when you feel some type of way. I know. And I'm not apologizing for anything. I did what I had to do. And that ends this. I'll see you on the 18th when I will be focusing on Orange 91 and actually publishing the first anthology. Also, 710 is the Indocan band's official launch. I didn't really show that in the video. I don't care. Watch a previous video and I'm talking about it, but it's coming.